Hello, and welcome to another RWBY fanfiction reading, and this time I'm scared because it's I Need You So Bad by PrismaticBumbleby. So I don't exactly remember this, just like the last one we did, The Love of a Faunus. But as far as I know, it's actually better than that. Although, unlike I Scream, I don't remember really anything about it. Although it does say mature content, so I am a little bit scared. But we're gonna get into it. So I tried to look a little bit through this to see what exactly was going on, but yeah, we'll have to see as we go, I guess. Chapter 1, Little Supernovas in My Head. Blake, do me a promise, asked the blonde brawler, holding out her hand to a raven-haired faunus. Of course, Yang. What is it? The feline asked in a curious tone. Say you'll haunt me. Just as the other was about to respond, the blonde awoke from her sleep, a small groan coming from the blonde. Same dream again, the brawler mumbled as she looked around the room. Everyone was still asleep. She turned her head and looked at the clock. Once again, 5:45 a.m. The blonde sighed and moved off her bed, falling to the floor on her feet, turning around to look down at her partner as she watched her sleep. She seems so peaceful when she's asleep. It's cute. She smiled and walked to her closet, pulling out her school uniform. Might as well get ready. With that, the blonde headed... Wow! With that, the blonde headed off to the shower. Once in the room, she closed the door behind herself. I wonder if Blake takes showers. Nah, Kitty's probably scared of water. A soft giggle escaped the girl's lips as she began to undress, tossing her clothes to the side. Suddenly the blonde stopped. Wait, I'm thinking about Blake a lot. It was true, the blonde had been thinking about the raven-haired beauty a lot. Sure, she was when they first met, but now her mind is filled with thoughts with that girl. Aang had developed a crush on the girl, but she didn't think she'd stand a chance. She had to find out if the girl returned her feelings. Only one way to find out, the blonde thought to herself and stepped into the shower, turning the faucet on and allowing the water to fall on her body. After the shower, the blonde stepped out of the shower and wrapped her towel around her torso. The real question is, should I ask her? And how to ask her? Oh well, I'll find out eventually. The blonde dried her hair and looked around the bathroom, then at the mirror, her lilac eyes laying on the glass, placing her hand on her reflection. But would she ever date someone like me? What if... No, Yang, you have confidence in yourself. The blonde gave a confident smile as she looked in her reflection and proceeded to do her normal routine. Brushing her teeth, drying her body off, and putting on her school uniform. The blonde exited the bathroom and saw the raven-haired girl stare from her sleep as she sat up. Morning, Blake, the blonde said happily as she continued to gaze at the faunus. Yeah, morning. You seem in a good mood, more than usual, Blake gave the brawler a soft smile as she looked back at the brawler. What's got you in this mood? Yang giggled and turned from the girl. Oh, just stuff. I got some things planned that I know are going to be amazing. She turned back and poked the girl's nose. Now go on, get ready. If we're not ready for class, we won't hear the last of it from Weiss. So, I didn't actually say this before, but there are 30 chapters, and I'm not exactly sure, but I can only assume that a couple of these are not actually chapters, so it's a little bit less than that, but this does seem considerably longer than, it does seem like this will take more than just like one episode. It'll probably take about like 3, maybe 4 even. But we'll have to see. Little soft pulses in my dead. This chapter, I don't understand the name of it. Whatever. Anyways. Blake looked around the classroom, spotting her team's red-headed, dorky leader sitting next to a certain snowy-haired heiress. The fawness looked to her right, spotting her blonde-haired teammate, Yang. A soft smile crossed the girl's lips as she stared at the blonde. She was grateful she had the blonde as a partner. She wouldn't have anyone else as her partner. She paused for a moment, her mind going back to the dance Beacon had a couple of months ago. She was the reason I went, in our dance. Wait, Blake, what are you saying? Blake began to get caught up in her thoughts when she felt a soft nudge to her side from her partner, bringing her back to reality. Blake, you alright? You kind of look spaced out. I know Port's classes are boring, but you don't normally space out like that. The blonde-haired brawler whispered to the girl, trying not to get caught by the teacher. She didn't want attention and spend it with Port giving her weird looks. Blake nodded her head quickly, blinking her eyes a couple of times. Yeah, I'm fine, Yang. Thanks for asking. Please don't tell me she caught me staring at her, please, she thought to herself, giving the blonde a polite smile. Yang smiled back at the girl, turning her attention back to the professor. She seems pretty interested in me. What was she thinking? Oh, I can't wait to ask her. She began to giggle as her mind began to run in all possible directions. The two began to listen to the professor and his boring stories. Half the class was asleep like always, but Yang's grade wasn't that good in Port's class, so she'd have to pay attention. Blake, on the other hand, had an A in almost every class, but she wouldn't want an A to drop to an F, so she decided it was best to pay attention. Yang didn't care much for all the stuff Port rambled on about. Even if she didn't pay attention, she could always ask Blake for help, right? She gave a small yawn as she felt her eyes drifting closed. Then she shook her head, quickly trying to stay awake. Must not fall asleep. Oh, that was terrible. Must not fall asleep, Yang said quietly. But as she said that, her head hit the table with a loud thud. Her eyes closed as she fell into a deep slumber. The loud noise startled the raven-haired fawness next to her ears twitching under her bow. Blake began to feel worried as she looked at her partner. Yang, she whispered as she poked the other's side, her amber hues laying on the girl's head, feeling her heart almost sink. Are you alright? Please be okay? Luckily, Professor Port didn't hear the thud. He was old. Maybe he was going deaf. Blake continued to set her amber gaze on the blonde. It's okay. She just fell asleep again. Nothing to worry about, she whispered to herself. Wait, is she really this worried about her clumsy partner? She sighed and waited for class to end. She could help Yang with what she missed later. Once the class was over, Blake shook Yang awake. Come on, Sleeping Beauty, wake up. As she said as the blonde slowly opened her eyes, setting her lilac gaze on the raven-haired feline. Oh, I fell asleep during class, didn't I? Yang asked in a sleepy state. Blake nodded and stood from the table, offering the blonde a hand. Yeah, you did. Now come on, we got homework that needs to be done. Yang groaned and grabbed the girl's hand, pulling herself up, then letting go of the girl's hand. Don't let go, Blake thought as to herself as she looked at the blonde's hand. Fine, we'll head back to the dorm and do Port's work, Yang said as she began to walk towards the exit of the classroom, Blake following close behind. Yang and Blake walked the halls of the academy, heading for the nearest and closest exit and headed for their dorm. I guess Weiss already drug Ruby back. She sure seems interested in helping your sister lately, Blake spoke in attempts to break the silence. Yeah, she sure has, hasn't she? Well, they are partners. I wouldn't be surprised if something happened between them, if you know what I mean, Yang said in a playful tone. Would Weiss actually go that way? Blake asked with a curious tilt of the head. Yang shrugged and giggled. Well, she might. She's probably confused. I mean, Ruby has the power to turn straight girls gay. Plus, I mean, she is, See, technically, yeah, I don't want to do that. Let's not talk about that. Blake's eyes widened slightly at the blonde's words. What? How do you know? Yang just smiled and closed her lilac eyes as she put her hand behind my head. She's my sister, Blake. I know everything about her. And her little crush on the Ice Queen. And plus, she turned down every guy that asked her to dance. If that doesn't scream, I'm gay, then I don't know what does. Blake nodded slightly, understanding her partner's words. Yeah, I suppose it does, Yang. In my opinion, they'd be cute. but also make an incredible team. Yang nodded in approval, looking at Blake through the corner of her eye. Indeed they will. I mean, Ruby has came to me asking how to ask a girl out, and I didn't know the answer. Blake quirked an eyebrow, her amber hues laying on the blonde once more. Why not? She asked curiously, hoping to find an answer, and boy did she get one. Well, truth be told, I never dated anyone before. I mean, no one has interested me, Yang said in a serious tone, giving a small sigh. Blake was absolutely confused now. She scratched her head, trying to put the pieces together. But aren't you like a flirt machine that's all over hot guys? Yang scoffed and shook her head. That's not me. Well, it's an act. I just want to act cool for Ruby. I want her to think I'm just an awesome sister. So you never dated anyone? She asked a little too quickly. Great job. She probably knows something's up now. She thought as she averted her eyes from the blonde's. Yang's cheeks began to fluster a small shade of crimson. Nope, but I do have my eyes set on a certain someone, she said quietly as she felt embarrassment surge through her body. Oh, like who? You can tell me, Yang, Blake said as she looked back at the brawler. A small smile plastered on her face. Yang shook her head. No, sorry, Blake, I can't do that, she said with a light chuckle. It's you. Tell her it's her, you idiot. Her mind began screaming at her. Alright then. Well, whoever they are, I'd say they'd be very lucky. Very, very lucky, Blake said as they reached the dorm, where a tall blonde-haired man, his tail, that of a monkey, swayed from side to side happily as he waited, waving at the two. Hey, Blake, got any plans for tonight? The man said and waited for an answer. The two walked in the dorm, Blake not even answering the monkey faunus. He mumbled as he began walking back to his own dorm. Turned down, that stinks. Okay, well then. This is certainly a game right here, right? Just come on, stop. No thanks. A little off guard and unprepared. The door shut to the dorm, leaving only the fierce blonde brawler known as Yang Xiaolong and the raven-haired faunus known as Blake Belladonna. Something was different in a sense. Blake knows Yang's big secret now. The worst part, she doesn't have anything on the feline in response. So, Blake, kinda quiet, aren't you? Yang spoke up, settling her lilac hues on the faunus as she spoke. Oh, I'm sorry, Yang, just thinking about something, she answered back, meeting lilac hues with her own piercing amber hues. But only for a split second. Well, let's see, you're both gay and a virgin. Wait a minute, don't mention any of that yet. Blake quietly thought to herself, her train of thought running from one place to the other with no breaks. Nice. Well, if you need anything, let me know. I'm gonna get changed, Kay? The blonde spoke as softly as she pulled out her classic orange tank top with her heart symbol and her black shorts. So, yeah, she turned and gave the feline a small smile before turning back around and heading towards the bathroom. Blake gave one of her casual nods, waving the girl off slightly, a small smile gracing the girl's features. That was the only thing that could get Blake to truly smile. The smile of that clumsy blonde. The fun has decided it'd be a better time as any to continue one of her favorite romance novels, Ninjas of Love. Oh. I love how that's like legitimately become a thing that just people just use in like fan fictions all the time. It's just, oh my god, it's so ridiculous. She took a seat onto her bed, the mattress shifting under the girl's small amount of weight. Blake moved the pillow and grabbed her black hardback cover book. Okay. Opening the book to where she had last left off. While the raven-haired feline was focused on her book, Yang was getting dressed, removing her school uniform and placing it down onto the clean countertop. Waist does like things to be clean. Once the remainder of the clothing was off and out of the way, the blonde looked down at her chest getting pursed up against her bra. Ah, my worst enemy, we meet again. I did say this would be kind of weird. And obviously it is, but the only problem is I don't know if it gets worse. See, the problem is that when that kind of happens. I need to, like, realize what I'm reading before I start reading it. Whatever. She reached behind her back, swatting her hair away. As much as she loved her golden hair, she needed this bra off now. Soon the hooks came undone. A sigh of relief and happiness escaped the blonde. I win this round. She tossed her bra over to where the rest of her clothes lay. Blake's mind kept racing back to the blonde-haired girl, her partner, friend, and to what it seems like her crush. The female faunist found it becoming a challenge in even attempting to read her romance novel. Why does my mind always shift to her? The girl quietly asked herself. Blake herself was slightly confused for the first time in, well, forever. Yang finished pulling her head through the top of her tank top. The blonde looked into her mirror, her own huge smile confusing her. She surely has been smiling quite a lot lately. Heh, Blakey, she's the reason for this. It's Yang, always in my head. That fiend. Oh, Dust, I can't even lie to myself. She's amazing. Maybe, the fauna started to herself, keeping her tone a quiet one. Maybe, Yang said in her own silence, her lilac hues resting on her reflection in the mirror, her mind picturing the raven-haired faunus, her ears and all, hugging her from behind. Her smile turned into a smirk. Yep, she's definitely the one, the partners unknowingly said in unison, each picturing the other with them. Blake gave a sigh as she fell to her side, her smile slowly coming back. I guess I should change after Yang, then get some sleep. Soon the blonde wow, that was terrible. Soon the blonde returned, her smirk still present on her features as she watched Blake hurry past her. For whatever reason, she didn't want to look the brawler in the eyes. Yang rolled her lilac hues in a playful manner at the girl's actions. Aw, Blake is shy, huh? Oh well, I better get started on homework. She gave a firm nod of agreement herself, heading to the desk in the dorm and pulling out her notebook and homework papers from her bag hanging off the chair. Alright, thank Dust we only have homework for Port. The blonde rested her eyes on the homework, opening a drawer to the desk and removing a pencil. Sometimes whatever falls in there will stay in there for a while. Yang shrugged and began to get to work, scribbling down answers she knew as she went along. Blake, on the other hand, was already in her pajamas, yes, but her nose caught the scent of her partner's uniform. She looked around, double-checking to make sure no one could see her. Why? Okay, I think I'll continue to read this. Alright, now, finally, I can't resist. Blake grabbed the blonde's uniform shirt, holding it close to her chest as she took in a small whiff of the girl's scent, a small purr rumbling in the girl's chest. Whoa, calm down, Blake, no purring. She ceased her purring, looking down at the shirt in her arms, her cheeks tinted a small rosy pink. After a few more smells, the shirt was back in its place. Okay, I spent a while in here. Time to leave. Blake was expecting Yang to pop out of nowhere as she entered the dorm once more, but instead her eyes caught one of the most adorable sights they've ever seen. Yang had passed out while sitting at the desk. The faunus cheeks began to flourish more. She shook her head and walked over, slipping the paper out from under the blonde's crossed arms, a light giggle leaving the feline. My little brawler, majorities are right, but she didn't finish some. I'll help her out tomorrow. She placed the paper back onto the desk. Come on, Blake, do something romantic. Place her in her bed. Don't mess it up. Blake gave another firm nod at her thoughts. She was determined. She would do this for Yang and only Yang. Blake slowly and cautiously moved her hands under the other girl's legs, gripping at the girl's shoulder as she lifted the surprisingly light girl. All right, my princess, time for Sleeping Beauty to return to her bed. Blake whispered quietly, wait, what's... Oh, waking the girl like this will be both bad and embarrassing. Blake looked at up at the blonde's bunk. Why does she have to be top bunk? Okay, I have a better idea. The faunus laid the fierce brawler into her own bed. There, you can sleep there for tonight. Blake smiled and moved back from the bunk. Okay, so how does Yang get up there? The Raven girl climbed to the top of the bunk carefully, causing something to fall and wake up Yang. It was not what she wanted to happen. Once Blake was laid in the bed and under the covers, she removed her bow, placing it down next to her. Suddenly Blake's nose began to twitch, causing her exposed appendages to twitch. She was laying in Yang's bed. devious smile creeped its way onto the raven-haired girl's lips. Perfect. Perfect. She turned onto her torso and buried her head into the blonde's pillow. Well, that is the closest she can get to sleeping with the blonde-haired beauty next to her, right? Okay, how many chapters have we done so far? 3? God, okay. We'll do at least one more. Take me in your arms. Wonderful. Lilac hues fluttered open, Yang giving a small yawn as she leaned up and stretched, causing her joints to pop slightly. A small smile formed on the blonde's features. She looked around at the dim-lighted room. Something was off. She was more closer to the ground than normal. Yang tilted her head as she looked up, seeing her bunk. Why am I in Blake's bunk? I could have sworn I fell asleep at the desk. You know what? I'm not complaining. Yang fell back into the mattress again, picking up the pillow from behind her head, which made her head at the mattress. Bringing the pillow to her chest as she hugged the pillow tightly. Blake, how do I explain my feelings? It's so hard. Yang sighed and let go of the pillow, placing it back in its original place, getting up and peeking over the bunk, catching the faunus curled up in her bunk, caused the blonde to smile, but something caught her eye. Blake was holding her pillow close to her body, just how Yang was. I guess she liked my scent, Yang was slightly astonished. Did Blake actually like her? What if she did? Yang's heart would probably explode of happiness. Blonde shook her head, her smile still present. Blake began to stir in the bed. Yang slowly began to back away, heading towards the desk, taking a seat and looking at her work. She wasn't completely finished yet. Blake's amber hues opened slowly, sitting up and giving a light yawn as she looked over at the blonde, a small smile forming as she saw the other girl. But her expression slowly turned into an embarrassed one as she remembered she was holding onto Yang's pillow. She quickly let it go, setting it down and hopping down from the bunk. Good morning, Yang, Blake said, rubbing her neck nervously as she walked over to the desk where the blonde was sitting. Yang looked back, giving a cheerful smile. Good morning, partner. She looked up at the girl's head, seeing her exposed ears. You forget the bow? Blake's ears twitched slightly, reaching up and feeling her exposed appendages. Whatever. Oh, sorry. I'll go put it on. Don't. You look nice without it on, Blake. Hank interrupted the faunus, spinning around in the chair to fully face the other, giving the faunus the ability to see the blonde's cheery smile in all its beauty. Blake just gave a simple nod as her cheeks slowly began to turn to a light crimson hue, while her heart skipped a beat. Oh, okay, but in public can I keep it on? Blake quietly asked. Sure, but in here it's kitty ears in here or kitty ears all the time. Yang turned back around in the chair, picking up the pencil she left from the night before. Alright, I'll keep it off in here. Blake gave a small smile and moved next to the blonde, looking at the homework. Need some help? Asked the faunus, causing the baller to nod and set the pencil down. Some of this stuff I'm not really sure about, so yes, please, Yang said, as she set her lilac hues on the feline, scanning every inch of her face, admiring the beauty before her. I swear this girl will just make my heart stop, Yang thought to herself as she saw Blake grab the pencil from the desk, explaining every question in detail, Yang giving a nod as she listened. Blake was a very good tutor. The brawler began to understand everything. Thanks, Blake. I'm pretty sure I understand. Good, I'm glad I could help, Yang. Blake returned the pencil to the blonde, looking at the clock on the wall. We got about an hour till class starts. I'm gonna go get dressed. Blake turned and went to her closet, pulling out another uniform and pulling out one of her yellow bras. It was a good idea to give students multiple school uniforms, just in case something happened to one. Yang nodded, looking over at the faunus as she stood in front of her closet. All right, Blake, I should be done with this before you come out, so I can get dressed and then we can get to class if you want. Blake nodded and smiled at the blonde. That'd be nice. I won't be long. Blake walked in the bathroom. Yang kept the same smile on her features as she turned back to focus on her work, scribbling down the correct answers. Man, I should start doing my work more earlier. Everyone else did theirs way before me, Yang said to herself. More earlier. Soon, Blake opened the door in her bathroom, stepping out in her uniform, her bow now above her head once more. All yours, Yang, Blake said as she walked over to the brawler. All right, I'm done. You can check over my work if you'd like. Yang stood from the desk, walking over to her own closet as she pulled out another uniform and grabbing one of her purple bras. She then headed into the bathroom, closing the door behind her, leaving Blake by herself. Okay. Blake sat down at the desk, checking over the blonde's work, nodding as she scanned over the paper. Yep, everything is right. Yang's a genius. She set the paper down, spinning the chair around to stare at the quiet, empty room. I wonder why Weiss always takes Ruby with her when she leaves. She must hate leaving so early. Blake shrugged and stood up from the seat and walked over to the window, pulling back the curtains. The team had to get a replacement due to what Ruby did their first night in the dorm. Blake took in the sight, seeing the sun illuminate the academy, and she looked down the courtyard, catching a small glimpse of the red-headed leader, Ruby, and the heiress of the Schneek Company, Weiss. So that's where they are, but why are they holding hands? Probably Weiss rushing Ruby to class again. Blake nodded to herself, hearing the bathroom door creak open. She turned as she seen the blonde walk out. Alright, whatever. Ready, Blake? Asked the brawler, walking up to the raven-haired faunus, flashing her occasional smile, waiting for a response. Blake smiled back, feeling her heart race in her chest. This was it, now or never. Blake turned her head to look out the window, then her gaze soon returned to the blonde. Yeah, but Yang? Yang tilted her head. Her usual cheerful mood turned into a serious one. Yes, Blake? What is it? The blonde laid her lilac hues on the faunus. I need to tell you something. Something hardcore. Okay. Blake said as she focused her amber hues on Yang's lilac hues. As she stepped closer to the brawler, a small sparkle in her now softened amber eyes. Do it. The Bumble and the Bees. Which is where we end the first episode. So next time we will continue with this and possibly get more chapters done, including, of course, this one. But yeah, that's about it. I don't know. See what happens. And of course, another part of Ice Cream coming up soon, which is just wonderful. So the interesting thing about this is that there are still some like grammar problems that I can see, but I mean it's significantly better. God damn it. It's significantly better than, The Love of a Faunus, because that was absolutely terrible. Although of course this is a little bit more something that I hesitate to read, but whatever. We'll just deal with it. Really. I mean, come on. At least for now.